Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. A long time.
It's Star Wars month on Movie Night Extravaganza. Tonight we're starting with the original Star Wars, A New Hope, the only film in the Star Wars original trilogy written and directed by George Lucas, who would take a step back from the actual on-the-ground directing after this movie almost killed him and passed the reins, while acting as the producer and co-writer of Empire and Return of the Jedi. George Lucas started out directing with a sci-fi movie, the ill-fated THX 1138, which wouldn't be recognized as a cult classic until after Star Wars. Then followed up with the enormously successful American Graffiti. Both films have been produced by Francis Ford Coppola's American Zoetrope. A New Hope was inspired by multiple sources, borrowing liberally from Kurosawa, especially The Hidden Fortress, and inspired by Lucas's desire to make a Flash Gordon movie, which he couldn't get the rights to. Lucas was also inspired by the work of Joseph Campbell after reading The Hero with a Thousand Faces and wanted to make a modern myth, as well as the Vietnam War, which George Lucas had sought to join as an Air Force pilot, but been rejected from because of his love of auto racing had left him with dozens of speeding tickets, and then he had been declared 4F after a medical examination showed he had type 2 diabetes. Even so, by 1977, it was clear that Viet Cong had been on the righteous side and the American Empire was not, and George Lucas based the rebellion on the North Vietnamese resistance.
You did something very interesting with Star Wars, if you think about it. The good guys are the rebels. They're using asymmetric warfare against a highly organized empire. I think we call those guys terrorists today. We call them Mujahideen, we call them Al-Qaeda.
When I did it, they were Viet Cong.
Exactly. So were you thinking of that at the time?
Yes.
After shop beat around to Universal, United Artists, and Paramount, Alan Ladd Jr. finally bought the 13-page treatment and made a deal to finance Star Wars at Fox. Initially only a $150,000 deal, it would get to be renegotiated as soon as American Graffiti opened and had been nominated for 5 Academy Awards. The screenplay went through 4 drafts before becoming a 300-page long script that would have to be turned into a trilogy of films. We'll go over alternative castings in the episode, I'm sure, but Star Wars stars Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Alec Guinness, Kenneth Baker as R2-D2, who would also star in Time Bandits and be in The Elephant Man, Amadeus, Labyrinth, and Willow, Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, who was the only actor to appear in 11 Star Wars films, Peter Cushing, not CGI this time, Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, and James Earl Jones and David Prowse as Vader.
Hello there. Come here, my little friend. Don't be afraid.
The cinematographer was Gilbert Taylor, who had worked on A Hard Day's Night and Dr. Strangelove. Gilbert Taylor and George Lucas would famously feud, Taylor not listening to George Lucas' suggestions, and George Lucas moving the camera and lights himself. Lucas began Industrial Light and Magic, the visual effects company, because Fox no longer had one. After originally thinking Tatooine would be a jungle planet, but not wanting to get stuck in the Philippines, Tatooine became a desert planet, and the crew went to Tunisia to film there, getting into a whole host of issues from a giant rainstorm to none of the robot parts or costumes working in the desert. Most of the film was shot in England, in Elstree Studios, which is why so much of the cast is English. The British actors, however, did not take the film seriously and thought of it as a children's film. It got bad enough that Alec Guinness apparently begged to be killed off as Obi-Wan and claimed that's why he dies at the end. It was also shot in Guatemala for the Yavin 4 rebel base.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
One of the most quotable and definitely the most parodied film of all time, A New Hope began Luke Skywalker's saga as he took on the Empire and trained to become a Jedi, from being a pretty whiny farm boy on Tatooine. His professed dreams to leave the sandy planet and join the rebellion become real when he finds a message inside his new astromech R2-D2 droid looking for Ben Kenobi.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
His aunt and uncle are killed, and it launches Luke, Obi-Wan, C-3PO, and R2 into a mission to find a ship in Mos Eisley.
Mos Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
a ship piloted by Han Solo and Chewbacca, to hopefully return the droid to Princess Leia on Alderaan.
I want to come with you to Alderaan. There's nothing for me here now.
But Leia is actually held captive by Darth Vader and Grand Moff Tarkin, not CGI, on the Death Star. The post-production process was similarly stressful. George Lucas's then-wife, Marcia Lucas, was one of the film's editors. A version of the film without any of the visual effects was shown to his friends and family, many of whom did not understand the film at all without the effects. However, the Fox executives loved it. On a budget of $11 million, Star Wars, A New Hope was not added until 1981, made $775 million at the box office, beating Jaws as the most financially successful movie ever made at the time.
You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Before I introduce the panel, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Then hit that bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. Super chats are now open. If you have any pressing questions, send us a super chat, which helps me maintain the expenses for the show, which I am obligated by the rules of the Geneva Convention to stop everything and ask the panel. Another way to help us out is to become a patron and give us money every month. In exchange, you get access to all of our after parties, bonus content, and we'll tell you even more movies we watched recently. Patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. We have a Movie Night Extravaganza Discord. There's an invite link in the episode description, and we have a Letterboxd HQ account. So those are 2 more places to follow along with us. Okay, let me introduce the illustrious panel. We are live right now on This Space. If you aren't following them, join This Space TV on YouTube. Link below. Conan Neutron is the co-host and senior producer for Movie Night Extravaganza, host of Protonic Reversal, an independent Film Critics of America film critic, and the frontman for the band Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Check out his music at neutronfriends.bandcamp.com. Christina Oakes is a co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, a streamer on Twitch, twitch.tv/cosmopolitics, a host at This Space, hosting Christina's Corner, and is across social media at Cosmopolitics and on Letterboxd at Christina. Jason Miles, the host of This Is Revolution, a guitarist and singer in Bitter Lake, and a writer for Sublation and Damage magazine.
I, of course, am your host, Forrest Miller. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Oh, what a wretched hive of scum and villainy we have for tonight.
Dude, it's cracked me up literally since I was a kid that he's like, never have you seen such a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Yeah.
And then they walk in and everyone's a Muppet. Like
Yeah,
literally,
it's like the Muppet Show. Exactly. but like I was saying, that one guy tries to get tough with Luke like almost immediately. It took like 4 seconds, which is just hilarious. And I when I was a kid, I literally thought all bars were like that.
Yeah, no, same.
You are in America.
And yeah, in a lot of cases, maybe they are. Jason,
they're like that.
Welcome back. Of course, it's great to have you on for the OG
Long time no see.
Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. The one we just saw the prequel for. The only prequel that exists, by the way.
Yeah, what?
Dude. So there's a ice video. Like I was watching John Oliver, and there's an ice video.
Mark the time. 1 minute.
No, but it uses the Darth Vader, like ISIS puts themselves as Darth Vader, and then every rebel that they're killing is like fentanyl, it's free speech. Like they're like, you guys or no, like fentanyl, like I don't know, it's all the different things Trump doesn't like, but it's each one is getting killed by the ice guy. Like they see themselves as the Empire, even at over there at the.
And they think that's a good thing.
Yeah, apparently.
Like propaganda.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Well, they even made some justification of like, well, actually, Anakin Skywalker was just trying to bring about order. Like, he's the best villain of all time. How are you not getting this? I mean,
yeah, Joker's probably
good
number
Lord.
2, which is ironic considering Mark Hamill has,
he's been
played
both.
the son, and then
Right.
yeah.
He's one of my favorite Jokers, actually, but I don't want to.
Who's your best?
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah, his voice acting, Joker voice acting is great.
He's a great voice actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like I watched.
Is even better.
Skipping ahead, I guess, but I rewatched the entire trilogy. So I was like, I'll watch them all in one shot, and it's crazy.
Wow, that's a lot of Star Wars.
So Mark Hamill's like car accident in 1979, 1980, where in 1980
what the fuck happened to his face? What happened?
Yeah, he has such a different face.
He
still has that face.
It's crazy that they
crazy.
kept him. I don't know if they would do the same thing in 2025. To have
he's so good though. They now they would probably CGI like try to do.
Well, that's what they do because they don't trust
Yeah.
that they don't trust that people, I don't know, would engage or would follow along or would get it, which is crazy because it's like, hello, that's the I was trying to highlight that earlier, but you're talking. It's insane. It's an insane thing to think. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, well, Conan, to your point, I maybe we'll watch this in the after party, but Mark Hamill, one of the things he talked about was little things that did not make sense with the script when they were filming stuff. He's like, wouldn't this not make sense as we're doing this? And Harrison Ford's like, hey kid, it ain't that kind of movie.
Right. Well, exactly. That's where I think we should start, which is the fact that, first of all, Lucas didn't think this was going to be like one of the biggest movies of all time. In fact,
Nerd,
Lucas,
what are those?
Skipped the premiere to go hang out with Steven Spielberg on like vacation in Hawaii or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
He didn't even go to the premiere because
no
he was
wrong
so
with
because he was so convinced. So he was so convinced that it was not going to work, just like Steven Spielberg was with Jaws,
but
one of the other biggest blockbusters of all time.
But have you ever made a record and you sat there and were like, this is going to be the greatest record of all time? I mean, you think it's really good, but do you really think it's going to, sell? I mean,
I think it's, you have to have a record of success already to expect that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And look, think about I like THX 1130. It's a good movie. I like American Graffiti. They're a good movie, but like no one could have predicted how big this was going to be. No, I mean, he wasn't even thinking about like in terms of like making a trilogy. It was just like I made my Hidden Fortress and Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon kind of setup.
So the thing is, the
that's my Lucas impression, by the way. So
I got very fascinated by this timeline. When Alan Ladd Jr. actually bought the rights and said, all right, you can work on the script, he gave I think $125,000 to George Lucas, which is nothing, and he handed him that and he said, look, write a script and then we'll make whatever script you write.
That's a lot.
It is, but they didn't promise any other money for him. You know what I mean? So American
1975.
1970. Yeah, I think it's 1975 when this is happening.
I mean, look, if I gave you $125,000 right now in 2025, you would shut the fuck up and you'd write that
Of course.
Where's my pen, sir?
What I'm saying is they didn't promise him a budget to actually make it. They gave him the money that they were going to give him for the script, and then they said, all right, write a script. And then American Graffiti drops. And right after that, and it gets 5 Academy Awards. George Lucas is everywhere. He's suddenly one of the most promising young directors. And then they're like, all right, well, we're gonna actually give you a few $1 million to work on this. But he has 4 different drafts. It ends up being a 300-page draft, which I mean, it's 1 minute per page, pretty much of whatever writing. Like 300 pages is a long ass thing, and that's why he decided to do a trilogy, or that he wanted to do a trilogy, because all of his ideas weren't going to fit into 1 movie or even 2 movies. He has this giant binder.
He published it. Didn't
binder full of scripts.
Yeah,
but he's got a binder full of Jawas. Yeah. Also, by the way,
everything though that's ever had to do with Star, if anything you could think of, George Lucas is oh no, I'll sell that.
Well, I want to tag that a little bit. First of all, I also want to mention that when he was on that vacation with Spielberg, they started writing Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is what they were doing, which is crazy, which we've already covered on this show.
So many
Hidden Fortress. We've covered Hidden Fortress on this very show. I'm a big Kurosawa fan. That's the main reason why. It's not like it's a 1-for-1 lift or anything, but once you watch Hidden Fortress, oh, okay. So you basically, he read Dune, saw Hidden Fortress, and kind of came up with his ideas for that. And you know what? And a little bit Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. It works. It doesn't matter that it came from it, because it isn't some things where it just shows his influences so much it doesn't work, or all you see are the influences.
Yeah.
He successfully made something that transcends the influences while still embodying all of them, which people still are trying to figure out. I mean, for a while he was still trying to figure it out, frankly. But
it's a fun
it's
movie
huge.
That like you said, encompasses a lot of other movies. Also has things that again, in rewatching it on my channel, we rewatched Star Wars, and I forgot about the dog fights. Even though that's a major part of the film, but reading about how he wanted to put these World War II style airplane dogfights in this movie, for me as a little kid, I didn't watch those old serials growing up.
Yeah, why would you? You're not 70, right? And you hit on a good point. It's the first time we really saw space depicted in this manner, like this exciting, again, like aerial dogfight style of space. Which, that's actually not scientifically accurate. Shut up, nerd. Yeah, we get it.
That's
but
it's not that kind of movie, kids.
It's not that kind of movie.
Yeah,
kid.
exactly.
Yeah, and it works so well that it became the template for a long time. And think about even stuff like Last Starfighter, like all of the 80s, like Sons of Star Wars, to a certain degree.
Tron.
Not to mention the Backstreet Boys, but Larger Than Life music video was very Star Wars and Blade Runner influenced, especially Kevin's whole thing. He was like in space.
Are they a new sponsor? What are we doing?
Maybe. Check out them at the Sphere while you still can. Anyway,
it actually
the
80s.
music, yeah.
Well, no, the 80s thing I wanted to tag on to that. David Lynch actually got really pissed while he was working on. I mean, he was pissed while he was working on Dune, just in general. But while he's writing Dune, he was getting really pissed at George Lucas because he felt like so much of the stuff he envisioned in his mind or wanted to do is like all stuff that George Lucas had already done for Star Wars, but not in a. Yeah, but he was like this is the same. This is so much like Dune, and I want to do all this stuff, and George Lucas already did it.
But I mean, didn't Jodorowsky use people that did the what do you call it, Coden? Where you have the cartoons for the movie? I can't think of the word for it.
Animatic and not Animaniacs. That's what I was going to say.
Time for Animaniacs.
See, there we go. I said the words, and now we got to do the thing.
Later went on to work for Star Wars and Aliens. Were working with Jodorowsky on Dune, and didn't he hand over everything to David Lynch or no?
Animatics. Jodorowsky never actually. All right, look, I'm a noted Jodorowsky hater. Honestly, I don't really like his stuff, and I think he's way overrated. He never made his goddamn Dune. He never made his. The conversation was never real.
Concept art.
About it. He made the concept art. Yes, and the concept art. Yeah, that looks good as hell.
But weren't those guys? Didn't they?
But he didn't actually do anything. Like, why does he get credit for it? Because he made Holy Mountain. I'm sorry, Holy Mountain sucks.
We've had this conversation.
And people were mad at me about not liking the prequels. Anyway, moving on.
We should have like a graphic rate. Coden hot take.
Yeah. No, but we've had this Jodorowsky conversation on I think 3 different Dune episodes.
Probably.
Now.
Sure. So what I'm saying is that the concept art,
the people
cool
that made the
concept
concept art for him later went on to work on Star Wars and Alien.
Right, because that was a movie that, first of all, there was no way he was getting any kind of budget to make that in any way, shape, or form. But the concept art was, it's good. And we got to remember where sci-fi was at this time. Sci-fi was like, oh, that's that thing in the 50s with flying saucers.
Roger Corman was still doing sci-fi.
Corman, at the top end, you would say elevated stuff would be like Day of the Earth Stood Still, right? And this is before we got Alien. This is before we got Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Close Encounters comes out. Is this the same year or the year before?
Close
same
Encounters,
year.
Same year. Really good year for space movies. Yeah.
So many good space movies.
Well, Jason and I were way too busy being born to notice. But
you're reimagining space because we've already been to the moon, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
wait a minute, Jason.
Allegedly. That's the moon. That's no moon.
I was on the Joe Rogan
podcast. Moon deniers, come on now, have a little faith. Oh, wait, we can't.
The other thing I wanted to say about the concept art, right? Ralph Bakshi, who did the original version.
Heavy metal. He did so much stuff. He did heavy metal. He did Fritz the Cat, right? I mean, he was animation was his whole deal. Wizards, Fire and Ice.
So the first
Lord of the Rings.
The first job in the film industry of any kind that George Lucas had, he worked for Bakshi. He was he was working on the titles with him. So I think the concept art kind of thing, he got a lot of the ideas coming out of that side of it too.
And when you look at the concept art of this movie, if it stays true to the original concept pictures you see, I don't think Star Wars hits the same way.
Because it's too artsy, right? And by the way, in the comments, folks asking about when Alien hit. Alien was 2 years later, 79, which of course changes things in a different way. We've covered that on this very show. But I think you hit on something earlier, Jason, about just thinking about where sci-fi was. Where was sci-fi? Well, I'll tell you where it wasn't the goddamn mainstream.
No.
You had a wild outlier like 2001 also covered on this show, which is a totally different kind of movie. But the thing is, it was thought of as kids stuff. It was thought of as
And
not
sci-fi's
serious
telling
cinema.
a different story. I know you guys have been over some of the bigger sci-fi movies of the earlier 70s that were more of these like message films because
Like Solaris, 72, right? The Tarkovsky Solaris, right? Perfect example. That's like, it's cool, but is it exciting to watch? No, it's like a freaking
it's
art
not a
film.
space western. It's not. It's not
It's
a
a
space.
space
They're art
yeah.
films. They're not space westerns. They're more like these internal conflicts. They're more kind of stories about where we're headed, right? Because science fiction never is supposed to be predicting the future, but it's really telling us where we are in the present. That's why Blade Runner has all these Japanese images, because that's where we were in the present. No one knew how big of a world power China would be.
Yeah.
But,
One of the reasons why Blade Runner hits too, like say, as hard as it is. But it's so it's important to the think about the cinematic landscape, right? And you did have the concept of the blockbuster. Ironic that we just did Jaws, by the way.
Yeah.
But like that's a new concept. Think about like the blockbuster as we consider it being like a year and a half old.
Yeah.
the blockbuster is such a game changer for cinema too. I mean, I did a video essay that's now available on Means TV, called Same as It Ever Was, about quote unquote black cinema. But when people talk about the quote unquote black exploitation era, that really is taken out by the blockbuster, because they made so much money on Jaws and Star Wars. It's like, well, we're not really making all that much money on these films, and they're really only for a very small audience. So fuck you guys.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing with and we've talked about this like a while ago when we did like a whole month of like movies like Jurassic Park and stuff. The whole idea of a blockbuster also takes out the whole auteur cinema thing for a while. Like and there's like this little group of filmmakers that hang out together. I mean, Scorsese along with Spielberg and George Lucas, and it's kind of like the George Lucas Spielberg side of it kind of went out in this moment, because it's like studios are now once again on top, because you can literally give somebody a 1.5 on top of whatever and they're going to make a shitload of money if it's one of these blockbusters.
And what's crazy, it's almost like an arms race, right? Because you also have Zalaski of Possession fame covered on this very show over in Poland trying to make On the Silver Globe, which would be like the Polish equivalent of Dune or Star Wars or whatever along those lines, that he didn't get to finish because of government intervention. That's a whole story in and of itself. But basically there was a lot of people, we talk sometimes about this, about having inspiration and like people having the same kind of idea around at the same time. Hey, why was there all these movies about volcanoes this year? Why was meteors apparently this year? I don't know. But it does happen. And for some reason people were really thinking about space epics around this time, and it changed culture for a good amount of time, and honestly really started the sci-fi genre as we think of it now.
Yeah, and when I knew about Star Wars when I was really young, I didn't think space western was a genre.
Well, because unless you and that's what's funny is everyone. So if you're into movies, you love westerns usually, right? Or at least you have westerns that you love. Who doesn't love the good, bad, and the ugly? Come on, get out of here. But westerns don't sell. So a lot of people like the concept of the type of storytelling with westerns, Lucas being one of them, and it was like, well, put him in a spaceship, There we go. And you know what?
It works.
Put him in a spaceship.
Launched one of the biggest franchises of all time. So yeah,
what's
put him in a
crazy is,
spaceship.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen news footage around Alien. When Alien came out, families the first week took their children to see it, and news reporters would be there like, hey, how do the kids like it? And there's one, I think it's actually, Conan, I'm not even trying to be funny, I think it's in Modesto. And
that's where Lucas is from. I went to the same high school as George Lucas. Obviously not at the same time, but I went to the same high school as him.
But they interview a family and they're like, what did you guys think of the movie? And the kids are like, I don't really like it.
It's a little sick.
And the parents were like, we wish we didn't bring the kids to it, because I think it might even have been PG. I'm not totally sure, because R and PG was so different before PG.
Yeah, 13 wasn't made until after Poltergeist, because they're like, that's
wasn't
it Raiders?
Studios.
Wasn't Raiders
part 2?
The sequel.
Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
Temple of Doom. Yeah.
Sorry,
But
we were good there.
Also, the pull that the studios had over ratings, right? Like over whether your movie is PG or it's R. Like the studios were allowed to get away with a little bit. They had some leeway in this time period because there was no PG-13 yet.
You could see boobs in PG movies.
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
a ton of cussing in
that was
Guys
my
jerk it off.
so that was my loophole when I was a kid because I wasn't allowed to I was allowed to see PG-13, but I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies as a kid. But I knew that every 80s and 70s movie that's PG had titties in it or something or had So I would always be like. So when my parents would be like, "Hey, you got to turn off this movie," I'd be like, "But it's PG."
Yeah, there you go. This is,
But
also, too,
so gnarly.
I tell the story all the time, but I don't know if Jason knows. But my grandfather, I'd be 5 years old at my grandparents' house on the weekend. He'd be watching Aliens, Nightmare on Elm Street, some of the scariest horror movies of all time. And I'd be doing my math practice work, and I'd be looking over watching it like no big deal. I was desensitized at a very young age to horror, and I love it so much. So when I have a friend who's like, I can't watch Sinners, it's too bloody, and I'm like, Sinners is so mild compared to some of the gore.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not Terrifier for God's sakes. Chill out.
I mean, like I've told on this, like I've said on this very podcast many times over, my dad went to go see RoboCop with me just because he wanted to see it. I guess I don't know, and I was way too young. I was like, oh, a dude literally gets shot in the balls in this movie that my dad just took me to. But
It's interesting that you bring up movies made in the Soviet era and movies made in this kind of hyper capitalist era in the U.S. because we've had Alexander Herbert, who's actually a scholar of the Soviet Union and actually wrote a book about horror movies in the Soviet Union that we did a show about. And when you go back and watch some of those movies, a lot of them are kind of heads and tails just above what was coming out in the U.S. at the time. But as you said, Conan, there's so much government intervention that you have to worry about. You don't get as much of it. In the U.S., you're spitting out so much, especially by the time you get to the mid 80s when VHS becomes a thing and sequels really become a thing because the blockbuster begat sequels, and we still haven't really gotten out of that, sadly.
And we can blame a lot of that on Star Wars.
On Star Wars, yeah.
Frankly, which opens up an entirely different conversation that is not the text of the movie itself, which I think it's as much as there is talk about Star Wars, it is weird how little people talk about this movie specifically. When you talk about it in terms of how we have been for 20 minutes, like the history of it and the franchise aspects of it and related elements and so on and so on. But
or they specifically, in the original trilogy, they specifically focus on either Empire or Return of the Jedi. A New Hope is never in the conversation.
Empire's my favorite, right? I mean, sure. And Return of the Jedi is the first movie I ever saw, canonically established and verified by parental figures.
Maybe that's the reason why Rogue One worked so well was because it leads to, a lot of people probably realize they've forgotten, a lot of fans have forgotten about A New Hope.
Well, and there's. I don't know about that, but
I would say that there's a cultural moment that A New Hope sits in that even for the elders on this screen, we're born into that cultural moment. Where what I think is actually really interesting to go back and do is go look at images of 1978 and even 79 when this movie is still playing in theaters and there's still lines around the corner. And the whole thing people are bragging about is, this is my 25th time. I've been here 45 times. It was such a new thing for people to take in that by the time it hit television, you had to be home for that as well. That'd be something real interesting to look up to see what the numbers were that Star Wars did when it finally hit network television. Because even that was like must see TV to watch the original movie, because it moves really well. There's things in it that we don't understand, like the speeder scenes, two suns on Tatooine, laser swords.
Dude, it works. The two suns thing, right? Because watching this version of A New Hope, is obviously they've tinkered with it so much by now. But the two suns thing as an understated effect that actually brings you into a different world where you're like, oh, we're no longer in this universe, right?
Really are.
A long time ago. Yeah, in a galaxy far away. It's such,
the filmmaking, Right, and this goes off what we're saying with Jaws, with like the split diopter effects and stuff like that. That's where like Lucas, as a filmmaker, it's like he has the juice, big time here.
Yeah.
Maybe more than he even realizes that he's making these scenes. That how many times have we seen this stuff ripped off? Even within the franchise.
Spaceballs.
But like
sakes.
not just homages, but like other movies trying to do those kinds of things. That again, it just throws you into the world. It's not sitting there explaining, well, see, Tatooine has 2 sons because blah 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 blah. No. Shut up. Like let's get to the let's get to the action. Let's get to the hero's journey. And that's why it works. And that's why it's interesting. This time I specifically chose to watch the special edition, which I've gone back and forth when I've watched this about watching the despecialized version and the special edition. This was huge for Jason and I. This was like it was crazy how huge this was. In the same way that the hype.
Yeah.
Yes. We're like, oh my God,
Was
Lucas
that
went
the-
back
wait,
and
was that
there's
the-
new scenes. It's oh my
Was that the
God.
97?
Yeah.
Was that the
97?
97?
97?
Re-release? Yeah.
Yeah, but both of us elder gods on the panel were just out of high school, and it was like, oh my God, I have to see that.
Stand in line.
What's that
I'm
going to
stand
be,
in line
dude?
for hours and watch this. Yeah.
Well,
it was crazy.
And so
that-
hold on, Christina, just for a moment. And so therefore, what we got was like, huh? That's it, huh? All right, like you get a scene of him not knowing the Jabba the Hutt was going to be like the iconic slug figure that we all know and love, but literally a dude, just some guy, some guy, that's pastiche some bad CGI over. We get Biggs. I'm surprised by that every time. I'm like, who's that? I'm like, oh, that's that guy that he mentions in like one sentence, like way early on. You get a bunch of weird looking...
He's whining about it. He says, he was like, Biggs says, I'll never get off Tatooine.
And if that sentence mattered at all, the payoff of seeing Biggs would be like, oh, hell yeah. But it's like, you don't even remember that. All you remember is he wanted to get off there. And then you see a bunch of weird beasties in the background that he just added in. And he's got a good eye for creatures, so that's cool. But if you know the original one, you're like, what the hell's that in the background?
Yeah.
Like the whole time.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's how I'm saying. So that's what was added. And you got to understand, this was built up like, no, it's going to be like a whole new movie. It's crazy. And what you get is Greedo shot first. Like,
Yeah,
he changed again. 2 years later, re-released it again, 2001, and then they shoot at the same time. Re-released it again, 2011. Then Greedo shoots over his head. Then he shoots. So they've changed it 5 times.
Because Jason and I will tell you, people were mad.
People were legitimately mad. There's a reason why I don't go to movie premieres anymore. And a lot of it had to do with like going to watch Star Wars re-releases and hearing people yell in the background.
This may be the reason why we have quote unquote fandom wars. You know what I'm saying?
It kind of started with that,
right?
right?
Like this is canon to this is canon. But back to Jason's point about people seeing movies so many times. That was really the beginning of like nerd culture. Like people, especially with horror films and all the big blockbusters. I mean, look what happened with like. Do you know how many times I saw Sinners in the movie theater? For God's sakes, Barbie. Like some of these good blockbusters.
A lot.
And so post-COVID, there was a lot of times where I know with Superman and all that, like a lot of people like, this is my 25th time, and people are getting like merchandise and swag from like Warner Brothers or whatever, be like, you saw Superman or whatever movie this many times, here you go, congratulations, you're spending all your money on us.
Well, there's this thing now where it's like, because of COVID, right? Like movie theaters are so like there's a desire, like an effort to patronize movie theaters again as much as possible, because it's like so many of them could possibly shut down. That you're like that, like it's almost like they pulled the they pulled the gears off the of the training wheels off the bike, and it's like, look, go to the movies as much as possible, because this industry might might go straight to video. You'll never see any of this stuff again.
Well, but I think it is worth noting too the things that Christina was saying, that like with the fandom and stuff like that. You basically have 2 tiers, and what's funny is I'm one of the few people. I am a cat and dog person both, and I like Star Trek and I like Star Wars. But that was the other tier, right? Which is the Star Wars fandom, which was dead as a doornail until Next Generation came around. Let's not get it twisted. But it was a totally different kind of fandom, and nothing. They've tried to replicate the Star Wars thing so many times. Sometimes directly, just like direct ripoffs, like, oh, you're just trying to do a Star Wars and you're failing at this, and it doesn't work. But there are things we will never have. There's 2 cultural moments that we will never have again as film lovers, one of which is oh my God, special edition Star Wars. I can't. There's going to be more. What did he cut out? Oh, and it's Biggs. And it's like, there's some goofy looking beastie in the background. I don't care about this. Like, I mean, what? Okay, it's still the movie I love,
wasted,
but like,
I wasted.
Well,
what?
hold on. Just if I may. And the other thing was the build up for the Phantom Menace. And I will speak no more about that. But like, that was a generationally monoculture defining moment that we will literally never have that again. There is no chance. But you cannot imagine how big it was.
I feel like we've railroaded Jason a bunch of times in a row. So. Jason,
sure.
Totally. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the Phantom Menace. I just want to go back to kind of that moment of Star Wars as also being a young person, because this is, for me, this was like my everything to this day. You
are a young person. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we're all the same age. Exactly. I'll just turn 22. Right? Yeah.
Like those action figures, like I could relive the movie over and over again. And watching Star Wars on regular TV, like anytime it was on, I had to sit in front of it. I'm going to walk through or watch every commercial, because I thought this movie was just magic. The scene of Luke and Leia giving him the kiss, and they, swing across the Death Star to safety. Luke in the X-Wing. There was a Star Wars video game that comes out in the early 80s where the whole purpose of the game is to blow up the Death Star. I don't know if you remember that game.
I remember it very well. I spent many quarters on it. It wasn't
very advanced, but it was, for me, I was going to waste the $1 that I was given at either Malibu or Chuck E. Cheese to play the Star Wars video game.
Which was like, it was like line. The Tron one the same way. It was like lines. It was like
it was like those lines, and I mean, I'm sure Forrest can find a image of somebody playing it online, or a video of someone playing the game, but. Star Wars really was this amazing cultural phenomenon that affected everyone the same way. You know what I mean?
I remember, of course, when I was young, knew about the prequels, but I didn't understand they were prequels. But it wasn't until I Love the 80s and I Love the 70s on VH1. That's how I know so much like pop culture and pop political, all that jazz. And I was like, wait, there were movies before them titled with different episode numbers that are before 1, 2, 3? Like, and so I had to watch them when I was like, I think it was like 8 or 9 years old. And then when I found about Luke and Leia, I'm like, oh, they're so cute. But then we all know what happens later. And I was like,
were you mad there was no Watto?
Well, that's the thing, though, Conan. Like George Lucas, I shouldn't say George Lucas. The powers that be realize that kids are going to buy whatever is a part of Star Wars. So you start to get more characters. And I think one of the things that people really don't like about Jedi, for example, or even Phantom Menace, is there's so many things that you feel the merchandising for.
Yeah, there's a word for that. I've heard you use on your show. It's like they're thinking about it in terms of like what action figures you're going to sell.
Yeah,
stuff, right? Yeah. And they really got into that in Jedi. But thankfully, weirdly, this is the only one that doesn't have that. Because they didn't even know it was going to be a success.
They didn't know it was going to be that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they released
was it Atari? Was it the Atari Star Wars one? This is that one. There's also
that's it.
They also have the one where you can actually get into it, and then it's
that was way later, and I wasted so many quarters on this thing in this picture. Many
this thing right here. So Forrest and Christina, I know this looks like the stupidest video game to you guys, but
no, I know it.
That handle, if you like. I'm waiting for older kids to get done playing so I could lose in 15 seconds.
Yeah, get blown up immediately.
Yeah.
I have a confession. I played this game. You know why? Because I used to clean for a house. They were big into film, particularly the husband was very much into Star Wars, so he had that very.
Really?
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes, he has it in his house, and I was like, "Can I please play this? This is work." He's like, "Yes." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
So I remember. I think these started popping up. I think these started popping up in the '90s because of the re-release. But I remember a lot of places when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I remember also a lot of places had the pinball one where the Death Star is in the middle of it. And so I remember playing that a bunch of times at places where they'd get the old pinball machines going.
Another thing that happens right before the re-releases and around the time of Phantom Menace is they re-release the action figures, and I was a collector at the time, They made him buff. So if you know anything about the '94 figures, that's the buff Luke.
Yeah, instead of it look like Skinny Bones Jones. Well, yeah, and we talked about there's certain things, and this comes up a little more like with Jedi, where like, oh, the Boba Fett with the detachable missile didn't exist, or like, oh, the R2-D2 that shoots the lightsaber out. It's like, no, it's his periscope, dude. But you could like, that was the other thing. It's like
you thought it was a lightsaber.
You thought it was a lightsaber. No, it's his
periscope.
periscope.
No, it's
I know
yeah.
so many kids I knew pulled that thing right the hell out, man. And then the little brother like choking on it like 3 seconds later. You know.
So my little brother had the it is the buff one, but it's Luke in the Stormtrooper outfit, and it had the head take off the helmet.
Now that didn't come out. The original figures, if you have a thing of the original, it's Luke, Obi-Wan, a Jawa, R2, C3PO, Han Solo, Darth Vader, a guard, or one of the officers, and that's it. And then later,
the Jawa. I remember I had the Jawa.
Later you start getting the Jawa sets, and by
Tusken
like
Raider,
79, 80, they start releasing a bunch of stuff. And I say all that to kind of explain that it's 4 years between Star Wars and Empire, and in those 4 years, we're just salivating, continuously watching these films. We're buying every toy, every comic, every novelization. It's just Star Wars all the time.
Cats and dogs getting named Chewbacca, you know.
Well, going back is, talking about like the plot of the movie, a lot of people always think, later on, like, with all the, the first 3 movies, everyone's like Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling copied Star Wars' plot for Harry Potter. I'm like, yeah, it's very, very similar. She's very unoriginal. She has the name of a male author, like stuff like that. But like, again, this plot, everyone's like, oh, it's so simplistic now when you look back at it. I'm like, yeah, but for those who were there, a lot of the revelations were very, very shocking that you guys probably did not see coming.
It's simplistic, but it's easy to expand on. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, because by the time, like, when the movie ends, there's a definite feeling of it's over, but Darth Vader's not dead. Right? He's just spinning out into space. The Death Star blew up, but we don't know anything about Coruscant. So you can go, well, look, there's these, I wouldn't say plot holes, but maybe there's
Tarkin got, but nobody, unless when you're a kid, you're not remembering Tarkin. It's like,
it's okay though. They brought it back. They brought him back with CGI.
Yeah, exactly. Thank God. Everyone was worried about that. No, but you also see things like, it is like you said in the intro. It is a hero's journey, right? It's like it's a classic. Like, okay, here's a farm boy that like saves the entire universe, right? And this is, and again, hello, Last Starfighter, duh, and like so many other movies, right? That just blatantly rip that off, which in and of itself is ripped off of a literary trope. But you also have things that change it up, like you have, they're rescuing the princess. It turns out she's a better shot than half the people rescuing her. And she's which by the way is,
and she's sassy as fuck.
Yeah, as a young man. Frankly, and as an old man, both those things are yes, please.
God rest, Carrie Fisher. Like, she was born to play that role because she's so much she was so much like that in real life. I mean, she always makes jokes about Star Wars at her own expense and all that, and she has a good laugh about it. I just think it's funny how each actor reacts to it. Like, Harrison Ford's like, he'll talk about anything else, but he's talking about Star Wars. He'll talk about doing the Marvel movie, and I'm like, dude, are you serious right now? I mean, you were in Star Wars. Mark Hamill has no problem.
Nobody gives a damn about the Red Hulk, bro.
He did such an amazing look. He's Han Solo. He saves the day. He's the bad guy with the heart of gold, right?
He's the one everybody wanted to be on the playground. Everybody wanted to be Han Solo. Yep.
He's got the coolest ship in the galaxy. Another thing about Star Wars, and I don't know if you guys have talked about this or feel the same way. The scene where, first of all, the scene where you go to the bar. Again, I know Forrest made the joke about Muppets, but I have been to several bars where I hear that music when I walk in, playing shit over the fucking world. And shit. We're in the
I've heard people that have that as people still have that as their ringtone. Like, they're into Star Wars enough that they can somehow tolerate.
But I don't know if you guys agree though. But when you see when they go to see Han's ship and Luke goes, "This is a hunk of junk," my first reaction is like, "This is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah,
Fuck you.
What
Well,
do you
and
know,
it's
Luke,
not just
humble farm
it's not
boy?
just Luke, right? Like everybody that sees the ship, including Princess Leia, including like everybody keeps like knocking the ship, and it's like
what a junk, what a hunk of junk, right?
Yeah.
And what's he always say? Yeah, she's got to where it counts.
Yeah, she's fast.
That's cool. That's cool. And like, what's the Kessel Run? We don't need to know. We don't need a movie to describe that. It doesn't
Warp
exist.
speed.
Solo.
When they hit light speed the first time,
it looks cool.
It's the coolest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And you don't understand how it works, nor do you care how it works. You're just like that it's there. The hidden
100%.
compartments in the ship, everything about that ship, Luke shooting the TIE fighters.
The guns looked cool, right? Where it's
everything about that ship, it was the coolest ship. That and the X-Wing fighter to me are two of the coolest ships in the history of ships that don't exist.
Well, you have the moment too with the like talking about like the even the guns, right? Like you have Luke messing around with the lightsaber, which coolest possible weapon when you're a kid. But you have Han sitting there hating on it, and he's like, "Kid, all you need is a good blaster at your side." It's
I've
like
seen a lot of things in this galaxy.
That sounded dirty.
Powerful force.
Well,
which is a big line that we're going to find out because of the prequels. Why that's such a big deal? Because there are no Jedis left. We'll understand why Obi-Wan's kind of secret. But I'll shut up and
Well, I mean, the only so many places to go here. So the design of all the ships, amazing, and again, ripped off for like years and years to come, like all over the place. So many shows were just
Actor
like,
boys.
well, in all fairness, one of the guys left and did Battlestar.
Sure. Well, that's the most noticeable example, right? But
wow, this is the first time Battlestar Galactica has been mentioned in quite a long time.
If no one has seen the original Battlestar Galactica, go and watch it. And the guy that
for a while it was mentioned every episode, but
word.
Not by any of us.
The Ronald D. Moore Battlestar Galactica is better, frankly, in my opinion. But that's a completely different
the
show.
original Battlestar Galactica for me,
I've seen it.
When you're a kid, come on, am I lying? When you're a kid and you watch Star Wars, and you're not going to get another Star Wars, you have to go buy the $100 cassette to see one of the 3 movies. When Battlestar Galactica comes on TV when we were like 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
That's as close as I was going to get to Star Wars.
It's good as hell when you're a kid, especially
as an adult, no.
Okay. And the Ronald D. Moore one, great, but they lost. They didn't know how to end it practically. But I don't want to talk about Battlestar Galactica. I want to talk about Star Wars and the fact that was literally just, I was mentioning first of 3 points. One of which is the design of the ships that echoed for 20 years at least before anything really changed with it. But then also we mentioned the Force, right? Alec Guinness as the sensei, as and again, this is the Force, right? So he's he's the Jedi Master in this case. But it's taking that Kurosawa thing of he's the sensei. He's teaching Luke the ways of the Force. We think of Obi-Wan as a figure within media, and how whenever you see someone getting trained up and it's anything remotely mystical or whatever, it's he's Obi-Wan Kenobi on this. And we just think of it, and we don't even think too hard about why we think of that, because that's how much that character is established an archetype. And this is someone that later on we learn he was a certain degree refusnik, and he was in hiding and this and that, and there's a lot of other things to the character. None of that matters in this movie. All that matters is that he's the guy. He's the guy that has the secret juice he's gonna this floppy haired kid who runs around on this desert planet farming moisture is gonna get to learn the ways of the Force and save them MFing universe. Well, and that matters, and that's huge. And when you think of I grew up in a really I did not grow up in the Bay Area. I moved to the Bay Area when I was 17. I lived somewhere that was not cool. I lived in the Kansas of California. I lived in the Central Valley, right? The Tatooine of California, yeah, for sure. That'd probably be Palm Desert, but yeah.
Conan, boy, that scene hit so hard for Conan. When Luke's looking at them 2 sons, that was Conan walking out on a March afternoon when it's 115 degrees.
I know, I'm just trying to farm this moisture out here for myself. No, but that's real. And how relatable is that when you're a kid that wants to get out of where you're at and go be where cool stuff is happening? It's
still fucking relatable to someone.
Still relatable right now. Today it's relatable. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's go.
No, so I wanted to say your point about this being the Obi-Wan being the sensei figure. Toshiro Mifune from the Kurosawa's like prodigy was going to originally be Obi-Wan, but they couldn't make that work.
Can you imagine Toshiro
Was it a race
Mifune-
thing or was it a timing thing?
I think both. Well, not race, but language, right? Like I think it had.
He wasn't a really strong English speaker. I know that.
Yeah.
Like that's a talk about sliding doors, man. That's wild. Toshiro.
Yeah.
Yes, Obi-Wan Kenobi, amazing. But it almost culturally makes more sense, right, than being an old English dude. Because the thing is, there's so many English dudes in here because they filmed it in England.
Yeah,
Which
everybody, nobody
would probably appreciate it more.
Well, and when we're talking about the blockbuster time period in Hollywood, there's a very different feeling towards science fiction, even, or like space movies at this time in England. Like nobody on the crew and nobody in the cast that was English. Well, I guess Peter Cushing probably. He was just kind of happy to be there at the time because he wasn't getting as much work. But like Alec Guinness, the cinematographer who had done A Hard Day's Night and who had done Doctor Strangelove, like
they're established
all
people.
these, and they wouldn't take this seriously because they were like, this is a children's movie, like this is a movie for kids.
They thought it was
and
a movie for
Lucas,
kids. Yeah.
And they thought of George Lucas as like kind of like this amateur. So Alec Guinness started actually by the end of the movie wasn't actually going to die necessarily as Obi-Wan, although George Lucas says that he kind of he made the decision early on. But in the original script, because they were changing the script up till the day of shooting and during shooting, Alec Guinness got annoyed to the point where he was begging to get killed off because he's like, I don't want to do 3 of these movies as
which led to one of the most interesting scenes in cinema and in a Star Wars, which is Vader versus Obi-Wan. And he lets himself get killed so that they can escape, right? And then there's that great line that he utters, and this whole movie is so quotable. I mean, they almost all of Star Wars is, but this one especially is. But strike me down now, I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine. And you're like, as a kid, you're like, what does that mean?
That. Yeah, I didn't.
What does that mean?
It's like, this goes hard. What?
Yeah, he did. Another thing about that scene is we get a little bit of a lightsaber with Luke in the training thing, the training droid. But that fight scene with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, the first time I saw that, blew my mind.
Because it's sword fighting, but they have laser swords.
It was
and again,
laser swords. I'm like, what is going on?
What? Like it's
like how are you supposed to stab people with that? Like how does those work?
There was not only nothing like that, there certainly was nothing like that in a mainstream movie. We're talking about, if you were talking about sword fighting, you were talking about Errol Flynn. And you're talking about a generation away.
Swashbuckle,
right? Yeah, and it's
or Kurosawa with the long swords.
Sure. Again, if you were more of a cinephile, then Kurosawa influence, right? Kurosawa mentioned, but we had never seen anything like that, and certainly never seen like, well, what's the resolution? Oh, is he gonna get him? Is he gonna get? And then like what? Why did he do that? And it's so crazy.
And you never know. You never know what that means, right, Conan? Yeah, I'm going to be more powerful. What does it mean? You hear a voice.
Yeah, you hear him like, is he talking
that?
to him? Like, is he still around? Like, what? And the thing is, the movie is not going to explain it for you. It leaves it mysterious, and that's what made this work so well. And you're like, and then you get that, and again, man, I get chills because I think of that goddamn video game where it's like, use the Force, Luke, and then like it's like, all right, time to make the shot.
Remember, before Luke makes the shot, another guy, right, a nameless misses.
The leader of the squadron too, like the Deadshot leader of the squadron, and he misses. You're right.
I think like as a kid it clicked for me when, and this isn't a New Hope, when he starts appearing, when Obi-Wan starts appearing as like the Force ghost and he can kind of go wherever. I think that's the moment that I was like, oh, strike me down, like, so now he can just
then
go
you finally get it.
Want.
Yeah. But it's also just like, oh, that's a hard AF line to say. It's like
you're gonna make me immortal, right? You're gonna make me this immortal figure that can come back and give really good advice to young trainees.
Who's gonna tutor the one guy that can take your ass out?
That's some scary shit.
Yeah. Vader immediately kicks the robe that's left there to be like, oh, he's not hiding in that robe, right?
Because Luke yells.
Trapdoor? What do we got here?
Darth Vader's going, who the fuck is this guy? Right? There's so much happening in that scene. Luke yelling no.
Yeah.
Darth
and
Vader,
wasting the moment that that Obi-Wan was giving him by going, no.
Bitch, I'm giving you a
Well,
way to get out of here.
Yeah.
We
Take it on.
haven't talked much about Darth Vader and that character's creation because there was a lot of behind the scenes about like, do we do something different with his voice or not? Because I've heard a lot of the behind the scenes footage, and they're like, this guy sounds goofy. We need someone who's intimidating, who has resonance in his voice, and who better than Sir James Earl Jones?
Well, didn't they both pass away? I know James Earl Jones passed away, but also the man that actually played Darth Vader died a little bit.
In 2020. So David Prowse had like a Bristol accent.
Yeah.
And so like when they were doing it, they did it with his actual voice, but it would have been like,
can you imagine?
Oh,
there, mate.
He was the manservant in the Clockwork Orange. Like that's kind of where he comes out of.
Well, and that's James Earl Jones as Vader is one of like the great voice performances of all time, right?
Nobody knew it was him until
generations to come.
Yeah,
nobody knew it was him though until 1987. I want to say I was reading he was uncredited.
Like, no, that's MF and Darth Vader. That's who that is. It's incredible.
But Jason has to head out of here.
Thank you guys again for having me. I just want to say, yes, James Earl Jones as Darth Vader is forever Darth Vader. You can't make another movie with Darth Vader.
Voice.
No AI Darth Vader. Just let it go.
Let it go.
Hearing him as Darth Vader in the Obi-Wan series, it choked me up a little bit. I don't know if it did the same thing for you guys, but again, this is the movie that creates
a legend.
The legend of this. It's an important movie for us that call ourselves leftists. You know, there's something to be said about grand narratives for galvanizing people. Hope, let it be an intoxicant, and this movie kind of sets you up for that. So.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Right after covering Jaws, like this and Jaws are both, at the time, the two biggest blockbusters that anyone had thought of. Both movies that have this like left-leaning politics
fundamental
to
critiques,
them.
Very different way. Well, it's great to have you on, Jason, for these. I know you're a deep thinker on a lot of things, and that includes Star Wars, and I appreciate that about you. Also, we're the same age and annoyed by the same things, and I appreciate that too.
Peace out, Conan. I'll see you soon.
All right, later, brother. By the way, how great is it to have gone in depth on Rogue One, and then like you see that line, that throwaway line of many rebel agents died for this, and you're almost like, oh, I feel like there should be like a moment of silence or something. We just saw a whole ass movie about that. It's like ooh, they sure did, boy. That was tough.
Watching Rogue One puts New Hope in a different perspective. It's like, oh, we know so much now.
Because the whole time they're being real casual about these plans. Like the people literally had died for these plans, and they're like, "Oh, we'll just put it in the R2 droid, and I'm sure the R2 droid will make it to Tatooine, and then the R2 droid it'll find Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's no way it won't. And then it immediately gets picked up by the Jawas and put on sale, and it's like." I mean, of course, the Force is, I guess, in action, the
And if that red astromech hadn't been malfunctioning, it's
C-3PO, pulls the cord out of it
and again, which is why we'll hear no C-3PO disparagement in my life or in this show.
Darth Miles.
Because 3PO may be hilarious, and as one half of the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of Star Wars, they're always at all these events in the background. Like he's a lot smarter than he lets on to be.
Have they not thought of that though? With
a gay icon too.
That would be a cute
dude. I hate it.
Of those two, R2D2 and C-3PO doing their own commentary, doing the Star Wars.
They did do a show called Droids that was a cartoon. It was not really that good, if I remember correctly.
Disney.
No, this is 85. This is before any of that stuff. I don't remember anything about it, and that's bad.
It reminds me of the
I hate it.
What I do remember is that the opening theme was Stuart Copeland of The Police composed it. That's what I remember. First, I don't know why I remember that, but
I hate it so much when C-3PO gets to the thing. He goes, this oil bath is gonna feel so good.
Again, gay icon, man, and I'm not even kidding. It's sort of and the idea that like having droids that have this kind of personality too, because it wasn't like this is the first time we had seen mechanoids or androids or robots in pictures, but like, you know, they were these irascible characters in their own way.
Yeah,
and very funny.
Just,
like,
yeah, they're just talking shit about each other the entire, like
they're
every
just
single
sitting
time.
there,
Yeah,
and you can't even understand what the one's saying, but they're still, but you get it because it's like a Laurel and Hardy bit, right? You know, and it's like, and he's like, oh, that was vulgar.
They have that bit on so many.
Right.
They have that bit on so many like from Chewbacca to Art. Like it's the same bit where someone's or like they make a sound and then it's like, all right, calm down, don't get your head in a mess. You know what I mean?
And the character understands it, and we as the audience don't, but we get the meaning, and that is so effective. Yeah. It's so effective and works so well, and it works so well, especially with R2D2 and C3PO. Again, look at the trash compactor scene, which I just want to address as being amazing and incredibly effective, and right down the line for like serialized adventure movies too, by the way, where you're like, are they going to be able to get out? You know, are they going to be able to do it? Tune in next week.
Conan, that is the exact scene that Mark Hamill was talking about on Seth Meyers when it came to inconsistencies, like with the plot of the movie or whatever. Yeah. And that's where Harrison Ford was like, hey kid, it ain't that kind of movie.
I mean, who cares? It's good as hell. And then you see, and like R2 saves them at the last minute, but then you hear them all celebrating, and then C3PO's like, oh no, we're too late. Their death screams. And like, that's hilarious too in a different way, because he's so prissy and sort of like
he's like a little autistic. He's like a little autistic. You can't really tell the difference between like a human laughing and a human crying. He's like, I want to. We're too late.
I was losing it, and I've seen this movie so many bloody times, and I was like, God, that is so funny, and it's so funny because it is, especially if you're a kid. Right,
dude. I've been thinking about this all day. The Hamill's line delivery of the power converters. I was gonna go down to the Taji station and get some power converters.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And it's like the specifics of what's being mentioned matter less than the tone, which is like this is just some hayseed, you know, on a planet.
Yeah.
That later on we find out is like, you know, the son of the most powerful Jedi ever known to, you know, in modern times. But
sorry.
But getting back to the trash compactor, which is incredible because it's like, okay, first of all, there's a creature in there, wild, okay, but then you have like, all right, you have all your heroes. Yeah, are they really gonna get smashed? Like, you know, of course. Come on, what do you think? What kind of movie do you think this is? But like the stakes of it are just like, it's exciting. It's an exciting thing in that way of the 1940s serials, which is a clear antecedent to all this. And we care about it because even though Princess Leia is like still like kind of like new as a character, other than her, by the way, very unfazed by Alderaan's destruction. Did you notice that? Like, you know, friggin' Obi-Wan Kenobi is like, oh, I feel a disturbance in the Force, like a bunch of lives were extinguished, and Leia's just like, that blows, you know. Anyway, back to which is kind of funny to me, but you get to know Leia as an action character, right? When they're all sort of, oh, this is equal footing. This is equal footing in the way that, and I can't stress this enough, on the playground, a female child or girl, if you will, could have a character to play that was badass. And again, I don't want to talk about gender norms. I don't want to get into like a distraction, but I have to stress that just didn't exist before that.
Exactly.
Well, and there's that whole scene where they destroy Alderaan, which as a kid like affected me. I remember like
they blew the planet up.
Yeah, like I remember thinking about that as like I mean, not like a kin in my head, obviously, but like in my head, I'm like, that's like a Holocaust happening. Like the whole the whole planet is like. I remember just feeling like very devastated by that. But in that moment, there's this banter between her and Tarkin where they have like this long-standing relationship of like antagonism or whatever, where he's like, you're too trusting. Like as you know, when he finally decides like, oh,
sounds
I'm gonna
like
still blow up Alderaan.
Like.
Yeah, and that's well, and Tarkin is a great villain in the way that if you think about it, it's like he's really the overarching villain of the thing, but nobody remembers Tarkin. Again, not kids. When you're kids, you don't remember Tarkin. Everyone knows Vader. You know why? Because canonically, Vader, one of the greatest supervillains of all moviedom.
Well, I have a fun fact.
Gary Whitta remembered Tarkin.
Damn right, and he he wrote. Gary wrote the scene with Vader smoking everybody in Rogue One, which is like maybe the best scene in the movie too.
That ice. I wonder how he feels. I wonder if he's seen the ice propaganda thing. He'd freak out.
I better say he's
I love his. I love his his threads is just you can just watch him reply to people and be like, yo, fuck Donald Trump.
Well, since we're still talking about Vader, the best thing about is the voice box device. And for those who don't know, the first time the voice box was ever used in a film was The Phantom of the Paradise, pre-Carrie Brian De Palma. In the scene when Winslow becomes the Phantom, Swan, the record producer, gives him a voice box type of device. And when
didn't you just watch Phantom of the Paradise, or didn't you just?
That's why that was another reason I was watching like stuff that was like pre-Star Wars, like that was connected and influenced with
around this
by
time,
it. And then I was like, and I was telling my Twitch community about that. I'm like, that you recognize that thing? They're like, yeah, that's the Darth Vader thing. I'm like, yeah, this is the first time this device was ever used in a movie, and it was inspired for what Vader would use to speak.
And the mask as well, although the mask is less obfuscated and in the shape of a record, which is also cool as hell too. But yeah, Phantom of Paradise, yes, it is indeed wild. I do
love
like that
it.
movie though.
We got to cover it one time.
It's along the same lines of Rocky Horror Picture Show, but kind of hits different too.
Yeah.
But I think that. Yeah, this is the design of Vader, right? And we just don't even think about it because it's, again, this is something you could show someone in any country like a picture of Darth Vader, and you're like, oh, it's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Show them a picture of like Joe Biden, and be like, who's that? But like, oh, it's Darth Vader.
My grandpa?
Darth points to Joe Biden. Darth Vader.
Well, Biden is being bombed, right? Yeah. Too soon? Anyway.
But this film... But we gotta understand, with the summer blockbuster, this film produced Hollywood legends.
Of course,
we gotta think about that.
Future you want to talk about the all casting stuff? Do you want to talk about the?
There's
so
we
much
could have had.
There is so when I was looking, I was like, oh my god, this is just too much. But again, with Alec McGinnis, he really did not want to be connected to these films, and I would say that.
Imagine Toshiro Mifune. I mean, we've all seen freaking. He's great, but it's night and day. Right, everything is different.
There's also like there's a very different which I really love, like every Kurosawa film I've watched, whether for the show or before the show, like every Kurosawa film I've watched I love, but there's a different style of very theatrical acting that goes along with those samurai movies that I don't think necessarily translates. I mean, literally because it's Japanese, but literally translates, in a form to the way that American audiences expect. Like each character is almost like a stage character.
Yeah,
it would be very different. So give us, Christina, it's your bit. So give us the broad strokes of some of the possible futures we could have had.
Yes, let me actually I have a little stunt double factoid. Interesting. Stunt doubles were not used for the scene where Luke and Leia swing to safety. Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill performed the stunt shooting in just one take.
I mean,
which is crazy.
Those were different times.
Harrison. Can you imagine? When you think about Harrison Ford, that motherfucker always be doing his own stunts too. With Raiders and all that.
Well,
too.
Harrison Ford, he had been in the conversation previous to this, but he'd been like kind of smaller parts. Like he had been in stuff, but smaller parts. But it is weird. I mean, Mark Hamill,
including American Graffiti.
American Graffiti, of course, which is literally placed in Modesto where I grew up. But it doesn't.
Modesto mentioned.
Yeah. Take a hit of meth.
That's the most that's ever been mentioned in a podcast.
Right? When it comes to the giant characters, Peter Mayhew and David Prowse were given a choice as to which giant character they wanted to play, Chewbacca or Darth Vader. Mayhew wanted to play a good guy, and Prowse wanted to play a bad guy, so they ended up playing the matching characters. Great. Which makes sense because can you imagine him going?
Yeah.
Oh by the way, I wanted to bring this up earlier with Jason, but so do you know what the Wookiee vocalizations? Do you know what it is?
No, if I knew, I forgot.
So I think
it's a mixed. It's like Ben Burt that did the it's a great name, but Ben Burt that did the sound effects was experimenting with a bunch of stuff. It's 4 bears, a badger, a lion, a seal, and a walrus. All pushed together into one.
That does sound like that.
Yeah.
Was it like one person that came up with that? Because whoever that is, I hope they had a rich career full of life. And
Ben Burt.
Ben Burt. So okay, Ben Burchess.
Ben Burns. No,
Well-
he's the guy that
American sound designer and film
He did
director.
the we've talked about him before.
Oh, Making
because
Waves. He did Making Waves. That great
Yeah.
documentary about
he al- he
Wally.
also- yeah,
and
he's the guy that came up with Wallow.
That's right.
Wallow.
That's right.
But he also did he also did
That
the
seems like
he also
1,000
did
years
sound
ago he
design
did that show.
for
Yeah.
E.T. He did the sound design for Invasion of the Body Snatchers with the at the end of it. He did start
Man,
the
having eyeballs
2009 Star Trek, and he also did everything in Indiana Jones,
Wow.
Well,
including
a lot of
fun
King.
fact, I'm pretty sure you guys know this little casting fact. Dennis Lawson, his name is misspelled in the credits as a different version, spelling it as Lawson, who played Wedge Antilles, is the uncle of Ewan McGregor, who would later on play a young Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I do know that. He's also he's in Local Hero. He's like one of the main characters in Local Hero, which is great. That's a great movie. That technically
least
speaking has
Ewan
been covered
McGregor
by
liked
this show. But
Yeah, I mean, at least Ewan McGregor appreciates being playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. Alec McGinnis. I'm just saying, that's Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Christina, do you want to switch off one for one because there are so many names
there's
in
so
this.
many. Yeah, we can just
yeah.
rattle them off.
So
I'm
I
looking through a few.
could start with Luke. It's on the Wikipedia page. It's under casting. There's a
Okay,
huge, like,
perfect.
it's
Because
a
I'm
huge
looking
section.
at IMDb, and that's just
So
too much.
you want me to do I'll do Luke, and then you could do the Carrie Fisher Princess Leia one.
Yeah.
Okay, so Luke, this is it. Robbie Benson.
I know Robbie Benson.
Okay.
Someone else Robert England could have been Luke.
What? Yes, Freddie. Yes. He did audition. He convinced Mark Hamill to audition.
Wow.
And that's how he got the role. Yes.
Oh,
I remember that now.
Vader's coming for you.
Wow.
That's seriously like it's.
So William Catt, who I don't know. Oh, he's the prom date of Carrie and Carrie. That guy.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell.
As Luke?
Kurt Russell. Yeah, as Luke.
I would see
feel
he as Stone Cold Git for
as Han, right?
Han. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is
And-
77, so.
Yeah, and Charles Martin Smith, who was his breakout role was American Graffiti. But I don't think George Lucas wanted to keep working with the same cast, everybody from American Graffiti.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Kurt
that's-
Russell.
that's-
Yeah.
Kurt Russell is the one that's like, huh? Really?
I mean, he would be more of a, not really a Luke Skywalker type, in my opinion.
Well,
Yeah,
not as we think of the character. So give me a different take of the character.
Yeah.
Imagine if Robert Englund had gotten the role, there would be no Freddy Krueger. Like it's amazing how career paths move along.
So do we have
But yeah,
all casting for Carrie Fisher for Princess
Yeah,
Leia too?
Jodie Foster auditioned.
Wow.
Karen Allen,
Okay.
Amy Irving, who was in
Karen
Carrie.
Allen, of course, Raiders.
Yeah,
Karen
Terry
Allen,
Nunn.
Jodie Foster actually got the role, but had to turn it. She was the one that actually had to turn it down.
Jodie Foster as Princess Leia. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a long list, and we could go back and forth about Han Solo for us because there's a long list of people. Who
All right,
could have been
wait.
Han Solo.
The Carrie Fisher I see on Wikipedia. Karen Allen, Amy Irving.
Yeah, Karen Irving.
She just said Karen Allen.
Yeah, I said all those already.
Okay.
Yeah, but Amy
Yeah,
Irving, her mother recently. I forgot her mother was also her mother in Carrie. She recently passed away. But I mean, Jodie Foster getting the role and she had to turn it down. And maybe she wouldn't have done Silence of the Lambs. Maybe.
I mean, yeah, that's insane. So I know also George Lucas didn't intend for Anthony Daniels to be C-3PO, but one of the Stan Freberg mentioned that it should be different because originally C-3PO was apparently characterized as a used car salesman. like that's how the voice was originally, and then.
Oh, so like a James Woods a la Hades and Hercules type of situation.
Sure.
What are you doing?
And so they did a pass on it with him as a snooty British butler, basically, and that's what led to the gay icon.
That makes more sense, though. I think.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, can you imagine if we had hey, everybody, what are we doing here? Kind of like C-3PO. Oh, we're doing a Star Wars. What's happening?
Here's the ticket. Here's the money. Go buy Star Wars.
Right.
They had 30 actors.
Would play him.
They had 30
Yeah.
actors audition to do the C-3PO voice.
That's
And
crazy.
One of them was Richard Dreyfuss. And another one of them was fucking Mel Blanc.
Oh my God! Really? That's amazing.
So good. Hey,
Wow.
what's up, Doc?
Can you imagine? Wow. Well, yeah,
Uncle Owen walks up to the C-3PO unit. Hey, what's up, Doc?
that reminded me, and I want to say it, but we had to say goodbye to Jason. That James Earl Jones originally, Lucas wanted Orson Welles, but he thought that his voice was going to be too recognizable. And Orson Welles, he would have done it. That man needed money around this time.
Yeah, James Earl Jones hadn't become a household name yet until he was revealed to do Star Wars, and also too he gave Mufasa, the Lion King. Like, you know, he's known for like two iconic characters. One's a villain, and one's, you know, a dad who, you know, a great dad. Anyway.
Okay. So the Han Solo thing. So one person that actually they wanted to cast, and they said, I want to cast you, and then ended up turning it down. Al Pacino as Han Solo.
Shut the front door. Well, then this was the basis of a bit on Saturday Night Live, right? Because like if I remember, then it was like, oh, like here was the alt castings, right? And we had like Christopher Walken and then the maybe it's a comic, maybe it might be a Pat Oswalt bit that Nick Nolte was like in the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Here's James Caan, Chevy Chase, Robert De Niro, Richard Dreyfuss,
Chevy Chase.
Wait, Bill Murray.
Just pause for a second. And Bill Murray. Chevy Chase as Han Solo would have been so fucking weird.
It really would have, because he would have everyone would have hated him, because from what I hear about how he's backstage, everyone fucking hates him because he just doesn't have manners.
Everyone hates Chevy Chase.
Just the guy I hate talking about him. Jack Nicholson,
Nick
Al
Nolte,
Pacino.
Burt Reynolds, Kurt Russell.
Can you imagine Han Solo?
What the hell is Robert England?
It's crazy. I know you already said this, Christina, but it's crazy. Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, Bill Murray, all in the conversation. Those are crazy.
Jesus.
What if all three of them were dueling? They could have all three been dueling Han Solos.
Yeah.
They could have done like the Three Amigos.
God, guys.
It's like the Three Amigos, but they're
so Burt Reynolds, who turned down the role, De Niro, who turned down the role, Nicholson, James Caan, who turned down the role. Crazy.
It's funny to hear De Niro and turn down a role.
Especially these
I don't
days.
know. How much you want to pay? I don't know. And he's like, I'll pay you 15,000. I don't. That's a little light. That's a little light.
So I would imagine this all casting Star Wars, right? Where you have Toshiro Mifune as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you have Robert De Niro as Han Solo, and Kurt Russell as Luke, and you have C-3PO, the fast-talking used car salesman.
Yeah.
It sounds like Spaceballs, frankly, but anyway.
That's what I was just very much thinking. Like, well, you know what's interesting? I swear to God, if we ever do the Three Amigos, I will beg my friend John Hoffman, who created Only Murders in the Building, to get us the contact of Steve Martin and Martin Short, so we can do that film with like the two of them. That would be so fucking.
Look around for your local credit card commercial; you can find them.
Yeah, I literally be like, "Yo, Steve, you were offered the role of Han Solo in Star Wars. What was that all about?"
I think about Rashomon though with Toshiro Mifune, where he's like that.
Yeah.
He does that whole. But they find Obi-Wan in the desert, and he's like.
Well, I mean, look, the dude's got presence, right? Even without, and again, but it's so different, and it's a different kind of presence than Alec Guinness provides, and it's just so wild to think about. And again, I'm going to reiterate it: the Obi-Wan character as this archetypal, Western sensei figure. That like we just think of it as anytime you see him when training, like it's homage so many times, right? It's like
I mean, look at the Karate Kid.
Yeah,
I downloaded this and I'll play it in the after party. But so to get Alec Guinness to like not talk shit and to just like chill the fuck out. Originally, his deal was he got 2% of whatever. Like they gave him 2% of the gross to be in the the first. And at one point,
No, chill the fuck out, Alec Guinness. I'm imagining the RZA saying it, by the way.
Yes. Yo, Alec Guinness, Bill Murray, chill the fuck out, both of you.
Again, at
it's
least
Bill Murray.
props to you,
Bill
McGregor,
Murray
for appreciating playing such a character, because I guess he knew there was such a weight and legacy behind it.
I mean, his uncle was Wedge. Sure, why doesn't he? Yeah.
They get they get the RZA to be Chewbacca.
Hello
but
there.
He's still Chewbacca. Like he's still Chewbacca in the thing, but
Oh
like
my
in the
God.
Chewbacca costume. But
Yeah.
it's his voice, so he's like, "Yo, Han, what the fuck we doing, Han?"
Fun little interesting fact. Glee I think it was season 3 of Glee, believe it or not, did a Star Wars Judy Garland Christmas special mashup episode.
I
where they
not
kinda
remember
mixed
that
both-
show existed.
But the Chewbacca made a brief cameo. They got Peter Mayhew to come into the Fox slot to do one scene of him telling Artie in his Chewbacca voice, you got to do the Christmas special, Artie. You got to do it. And it was like they did like a special mix of Judy Garland's Christmas special and then the Star Wars one. And I'm like, how the hell?
That was
did
like
they
so
get
when
Peter
they
Mayhew?
first got YouTube up and running.
Yeah.
Still, the Star Wars Holiday Special was like the rare, it's still like impossible. Like that was one of the big gets when it came to YouTube.
So-
because they're like, yeah.
So I have a VHS of it right over there, first of all.
Yeah.
And secondly, the documentary that they made about it features heavily friend of the show, Bonnie Burton,
Yeah.
who is coming on for Return of the Jedi
Yeah.
in 2
Yeah.
chapters. And, of course, worked at LucasArts. But Bonnie is all over that documentary, and it's good as hell. And I highly recommend watching it because it is a fascinating moment in time. I mean, there's so many weird things that happen in that, and it's fueled by pure cocaine. And again, you can probably find it on like your more disreputable site somewhere, but is it good? Not really, but is it interesting? Oh, yes. Yes, it is.
Harvey Firestein as Vader.
I should ask him, be like, would you want to voice Darth?
And then Noah's
Palpatine.
Palpatine, and he was unlimited power.
I'm gonna call my mother.
Wow,
Like-
yeah, that's...
He's like you let the hate flow through you.
Go on, give in to your anger. With each passing moment, you become more my servant.
I should ask him if we ever do Mrs. Doubtfire. I should ask him to come on for that too. That'd be cool.
I mean, I'd love to talk to Harvey Firestein.
Yeah,
Just listen to his voice. For like
tell
2 hours.
tell me do a really mid impersonation of him all the time for reasons I can't even explain.
Because we love him.
Yeah, I mean, it's because he's a great American
Independence
figure.
Day.
It did, yeah, it really
This
is.
is our Independence Day.
I gotta go call my mother.
This is a pro Harvey
No notes.
Firestein.
He's just a great that guy. That's all it is.
Yeah.
He's a great that guy, and we will go on record as saying as such.
Yeah.
As Palpatine, different vibe. As Vader, different vibe.
I said this really briefly in the intro, but Kenny Baker, the little person that they put inside of the R2
the little
unit,
guy. Yeah.
his movie credits besides Star Wars, The Elephant Man, Time Bandits.
Yeah, we did do
He's
Time
one
Bandits.
of, and they also have one of the Jawa, like one of the main Jawas that runs up to them in the beginning. He was also one of the Time Bandits little people. But Willow, Flash Gordon,
Of course.
Amadeus.
And a film that we could be talking about soon.
Yeah, and Labyrinth.
Yeah.
And Labyrinth.
Makes sense.
Which we have to. Was he Hoggle?
Yeah.
Was he Hoggle?
Let me see.
Now I got the Queen song stuck in my head. Flash.
No, he's one of the Goblin Corps. This is so Goblin Corps of us.
All right. Look.
But
Tune into the after party where Coda and I do the entire Flash Gordon soundtrack by Queen.
No, but it's nuts that they wouldn't give the rights to do Flash Gordon to George Lucas for whatever reason. They wouldn't sell him the rights. But then in 1980, Flash Gordon movie comes along.
Sure did.
And they're like, Queen, you do it. They also did the Highlander
North
soundtrack
members.
too. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Who wants to live forever? Yeah.
hindsight, that song's very sad.
Highlander, a
But-
movie night extravaganza. When, by the way, probably never, frankly. But I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah,
I mean,
they're doing a remake of it, aren't they?
I think it was like a TV series for Apple.
Oh no,
so I
they
think
definitely did a TV series, and they made like 5 sequels. But I mean, I think they are making a reboot, a remake of it now. Which is it a good movie? Well, I quite enjoy it, but I can't say it's a good movie.
It's one of those ones that misses the mark. That could like
Christopher Lambert as the timeless Scotsman, and then an actual Scottish
Diane
person
Lane,
as a
Baby
Spaniard,
Daddy?
And you know,
Ooh, yeah.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot going on in Highlander, but
The Flash Gordon movie though, is a De Laurentiis project, which of course so is Dune.
Wait, Nandor De Laurentiis from Staten Island, New York, the vampire.
Yes, that is who we mean. Okay,
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
Star Wars: A New Hope. So we have the X-wings are amazing. The dogfight scenes are fantastic, right? You have the TIE fighters, which are sort of like the quintessential like bad guy. Like these guys are so bad that like they don't even have the ability to like bail out of these things. They're just like disposable practically, right?
Mhm.
And that tells you everything you know about the Empire as well. I guess originally they were supposed to, but they just never got around to it. All that works so well. Again, we do have sound in space. Canonically, there is not a sound in space. Shut up, nerd. And we have like just from the beginning the Star
Neil deGrasse
Destroyer.
Tyson.
I know. put him in the garbage can. You have the freighter
Fiction.
movie, and you're like, oh, here's this big ship that's coming towards the planet, and then in frame you have a bigger, like the biggest ship you've ever seen in space. Immediately afterwards, how cool
Every
is that?
single time it got ruined for me by Spaceballs, where the ship just keeps going and going and going.
By the way, a remake impossible. There can be only one. See what you did there, Matt.
We
See
should
what you
do
did there.
Spaceballs just for like a bonus episode for patrons only, just so I can just talk about John Hurt's cameo in the.
It's a really good satire. The quest for more cash.
Hello, my honey. Hello. My...
Yeah, that's right. And they got John Hurt to do it. That's right.
The search
Not
for
again.
more money.
But it's an amazing opening scene. That's how this film starts. Right? Going back all the way back to the beginning, we're just like, oh, like this. I have not seen this. This is interesting. You know, this is cool. They're doing cool stuff with the Horizon, and that's after. By the way, how have we not talked about the titles? You know,
Yeah.
you have the John Williams.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I meant to say this. When we were talking about this early on. When we were talking about like the difference between the two sci-fi things, where it's like there's a different kind of science fiction, right? Like light on the science, heavy on the fiction, essentially.
Yeah.
But the like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, takes you into a split, I guess, in the universe where it's like this is not a future movie. This is not a movie that's predicting anything that's going to happen. This is
Explains
its own.
enough.
Yeah, it's a space western. Like and it immediately like gives you that like
and
just
it
that title,
hits
right?
So differently than anything else because of that. Yeah, just with that simple sentence, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Amazing.
Chills.
And then you get the crawl, right? The crawl of like here's the backstory, and here's presented in this way that you also like probably haven't seen unless you watch a bunch of 1940s serials. Great. You know, amazing. And again, that's the only time you get it. You don't get a character explaining, well, that's Darth Vader, and he's the oh my god, fine, you know.
Fuck, there's three Han Solos, by the way, that we didn't talk about. I'll rattle them off. Sylvester Stallone, John Travolta,
Wow.
Christopher Walken.
I did mention Christopher Walken, but
yeah.
It was super quick.
This
so
was
we ran
right
him off.
around Greece too for John Travolta and after Welcome Back, Connor. So that's
That's the only time. That's the only time that they would have ever tried to look at John Travolta as a possible.
back when he had hair.
Yeah, Christopher Walken actually has given interviews about auditioning for Han Solo.
Well,
which
he
Han
did
Solo.
that.
I did the Kessel. I did the Kessel run in 12 in 12 parsecs.
Well, if you remember, there was that movie called Brainstorm where Natalie Wood.
You've heard of the Millennium
died.
Falcon.
She's got to where it counts, kid.
He did do a sci-fi movie called Brainstorm with Natalie Wood. Right, they were filming it right when she died. Well, she was murdered by Robert Wagner. Let's be real here. But,
Yeah.
like, he
Well,
had
Christopher
his fair
Walken was
share
there.
of sides. Well, yeah, because apparently they were having an affair, so that's why he
That's
killed her.
right. He
Anyway.
was there. That's right.
Robert, I
Yeah.
hate to tell you, I'm sleeping with your wife.
What
Justice
good is
for
reward
Natalie
if you ain't
Wood.
around to use it?
I love Christopher Walken, though.
All right.
But I
yeah, amazing.
It was, you've heard of
cute.
the Millennium Falcon, and he's like, no, should I have? It did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs.
Amazing. Great. I'm here for it. It's a totally different movie, but I'm here for it. Look, the
Everybody gets-
forcefulness.
Everybody
Let's
gets
get one
boarded
thing straight.
sometimes.
Oh my god, we should do like impressions. we should do little clips of us doing like, what if this movie starred these people? We just do the impressions.
Now, that sounds like Patreon content. The problem is that the
Yeah.
time to do it is sometimes you gotta like build up to it and have it be in the moment. But
Yeah.
anyway, we're before we
Jabba, I was just coming to find you.
find you. Dueling Watkins, right? That's remember we had dueling Dennis Millers when we had
Yeah.
friend of the show Andy Kindler on?
Kindler. Yeah.
That was a proud moment in my quote unquote comedic career. Doing dueling Dennis Millers with Andy Kindler.
I should text him see if he ever wants
Subscribe
to come on.
to the Patreon to find stuff like that, as well as
Yeah.
a lot of other buffoonery.
Vader's voice could have been. I want to hear guesses. I want to hear guesses about who you iconic voice.
Besides Orson Welles.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah, you did say.
I
Orson
said
Welles.
I said that.
Yeah. All right. Well, sometimes I'm out of thinking. I miss certain things. So I'm on two screens.
So was that your big reveal? Was it the thing that I
Yeah,
revealed
that was
like
gonna
20
be
minutes ago? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was gonna be my
Welcome to
big
the show,
reveal.
by the way. Yeah, I mean, he would have done it, right? I mean, he was hurting for money around this time, but he was
Yeah.
recognizable. Yeah, so that doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't have made sense for him to do it. And
Christopher Walken as Darth Vader.
I think you go
Whoa.
a little something like this.
I'm your father.
He's like, I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Right. Well,
Ronnie,
Yeah. Rodney Dangerfield.
Luke, I'm your father. You gotta respect me. I gotta respect it all.
No, it's Tarkin's talking down to him. Oh, I don't get no respect at all.
oh, people think the dark side's all wine and roses. It's not. It's hot. I tell you, there's no respect.
I love him. I get no respect
Yeah,
at all.
he's really gasping for breath. He's like out. He's like
Take
out of
those
breath.
too
I mean, he's like, oh, my wife didn't give me any respect. You know, she said I'm going back to the boo. I said, well, guess what? There's no more Anakin for you.
It reminds me of when, because Robert Williams was doing all those impressions in Aladdin, and he does a Rodney Dangerfield. It's like, I can't believe it. I'm losing to a rug, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know that one.
All right. So, of course, Letterboxd is a place for film lovers to talk out with and to each other about the movies they love, maybe the movies that they didn't love, maybe just want to talk about the quote-unquote PowerPoint transitions that happened in this movie. Guess where they got it, dudes? Guess where they got it from? Of course, all of this is best expressed succinctly. It is a bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say. They get to chime and opine about all the films, not just Siskel's and Eberts of the world, but is best done in the short format piece, which are then collected weekly for this bit that I present on screen for Forrest, Christina, and our lovely friends to react to, respond to, laugh at, and with. These are the Letterboxd one-liners for Star Wars: A New Hope. Let's go. My favorite part of this film was when old man Obi-Wan Kenobi does a completely unnecessary 360 move during that one lightsaber duel. That shit was so funny. My man has so much swag.
That's more than a one-liner, but I'll take it.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I love this Spaceballs thing where every time they're playing with lightsabers, they switch them out for the stunt doubles for whatever. So you have like
right.
You have Bill Pullman and suddenly a different guy. He does a
It's a
backflip
different
and then it's
guy,
Bill
yeah.
Pullman again.
By the way, Christina, it's like the dollar store. Not everything is strictly a dollar, okay?
Yeah. Or like, what
Come
the
on.
hell?
It's episode
I don't get
291.
I don't get no respect. No respect at all. I wanted a one-liner, but they gave me five. They gave me 5 lines.
Oh, they gave me a whole paragraph.
They gave me a whole script.
I'm sitting over here reading a novella, just trying to do my bit. George Lucas was really like, I'm going to create the world's first gay mentally ill robot. And he did.
I swear, C-3PO has like the same level of autism as Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory. Like that's what I imagine.
Fair enough. The editors had transition effects and a dream. There's transitions, we didn't even talk about them, but the transitions, iconic. And again, ripped off by PowerPoint. Don't get it twisted, kids. Microsoft ripped it off from Star Wars, not the other way around.
iMovie ripped off a lot of stuff from Star Wars
iMovie too, yeah. And public access TV as well.
I love the
that's not a joke.
I like all the jokes for fucking Spaceballs, but there's the one where the sun dissolves and John Candy goes, "Nice transition."
Right. Yeah, exactly. Spaceballs, that's a good satire. That's it. Yeah. It's funny.
Thank God Mel Brooks is still alive. Someone else could do Spaceballs too.
Thank goodness they beat the Death Star. Hopefully the Empire doesn't strike back or anything. That would suck.
Right. Imagine if it was. Imagine if they did
literally
sequel
next week,
and it was that easy to beat the Empire.
Yeah. No. Right. Imagine if Letterboxd had existed back in.
Oh man, yeah, it's good.
I don't get no respect at all. These people, they come up in the Death Star, they blow it up.
Listen, people think it's hard to fly a TIE fighter. I tell you what's hard, having to deal with Darth Vader's heavy breathing. You can't hear anything over here. Thank you. Right, that was Rodney Dangerfield as a stormtrooper, I guess. I don't know. I mean, what am I doing here?
No, it's Rodney Dangerfield
he was a stormtrooper
as the guy. Rodney Dangerfield as one of the guys that's at the table that's like, Lord Vader, your magical superpower or whatever. Like,
oh yeah, that guy's talking that trash. I do not remember that guy. But Rodney Dangerfield. I do not remember that guy talking as much trash as he does. It's like, oh, he really kind of lays into him. It's like you kind of gotta say he FAFO'd on that one. Gotta say.
Yeah. Well, he's like, oh, if you he's like, if you got all these magical powers, why haven't you gotten the plans back? And it's like, bro, chill.
Do not taunt the Sith Lord, man. Like, there's not a sign, but the sign is implied. Do not taunt the Sith Lord, okay?
I forgot that
Bill Maher as Turkin.
Oh dear God. Oh.
and finally, new rule.
New rule, okay? If we're gonna blow up a planet, it's gonna be one I pick, not the one you pick.
Insert Bill Maher classic eye roll here.
Right.
Princess Leia's far too trusting. So finally, new rule: don't trust the Empire. Okay. I forgot that. So I forgot that Uncle Owen calls Obi-Wan an old wizard. He's like, oh, that old wizard.
Yeah. Insult. Yeah, wizard.
Like, don't worry about that old wizard. This is the same way you're like, don't worry about that crackhead. Like,
he's fucking around over there. Why didn't Chewie get a medal? That's racist.
That is racist.
Racist against Wookiees, man. Like, what the hell?
Can I tell you? First of all, respect. That deserves more than 22 likes. But there's a whole Reddit thread and multiple websites about this. And people have actual answers, and that's how you know this fandom goes deep. Because like, well, actually, okay, yeah. Fine.
Well, I mean, when the internet first came around,
the movie, because
the internet first came around, like I feel like a lot of it was just Star Wars content because it's like a lot of people are
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, why wouldn't it be? The way Vader nudges Obi-Wan's empty robes with his feet kills me.
Yeah, he's literally like, is he like, did he do Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Like,
speaking of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids,
where did this slippery motherfucker go?
Yeah, it's like, is he in there? I want to make sure he's not. I've fallen for this trick before. He just goes into his robes like a turtle going back into its shell.
Oh, for the Gann Award, not this time.
How did he do the trick? I have to know.
Where is the body? Where is the body?
Well, because Yoda disappears and Obi-Wan disappears. Vader is just still fucking there. when he dies, and at least I really as a kid I expected they were gonna have his whole his suit just crash into maybe that would have traumatized kids too much watching it or something.
It'd be a
like
lot.
this
It'd be a
the
lot.
whole.
I mean, ultimately, let's not get it twisted. It is it's not a children's movie, but it is in the grand tradition of kids can watch it, and it isn't say Ridley Scott's Alien. Yeah, I mean. Callback.
I love.
Thank you.
I love the fuck. I love the
movie for kids. I saw it, therefore it's a movie for kids. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're too intense. If you you see someone get dismembered. I mean, actually, we do see someone get dismembered at that bar, don't we? Never mind.
I love the scene at the beginning of Chasing Amy, where it's like the whatever like Malcolm fake Malcolm X type guy that's actually their gay friend. And he's like, there's no brothers in Star Wars. And he's like, the only brother is Darth Vader. And you pull off his mask to reveal that there's a white guy. And he's like, that just shows us that deep down, they think we all want to be white.
Oh, God.
Subscribe for the after party, everybody. I never thought about it much because it's a Star Wars, but blowing up an entire planet for funsies is crazy evil. Yes.
Wow, I can't wait. Oh, okay. This was not written by Israel for once. Okay, interesting.
Israel's like, okay, now that we've seen Star Wars.
Benjamin Netanyahu's burner account? Okay.
What the hell, man? He has other hobbies?
He's like, I've never watched Star Wars before. Now I have different thoughts about what we are doing in Israel. I must rethink. I must rethink some things.
You're so right, King. Those totally are not the droids I was looking for.
If it's me, right? If it's me, I'm just saying
it would have gone down different.
If I'm Uncle Owen, I almost said Uncle Ben. This isn't Spider-Man.
Oh, it's Uncle Ben. Why don't you go get some rice? Oh,
if I'm Uncle Owen, right? If I'm Uncle Owen, I'm grumpy. I'm a farmer. The minute the first droid starts doing this whole sassy thing, and he's like, and then the other droid doesn't work, and he's like, oh, maybe take my friend. I've worked with him before. I'm like, yeah, I want droids that don't talk. I'm a hardworking farmer.
These droids are sure doing a lot of talking. You know what they're not doing? It's farming moisture.
I'm trying to make the desert bloom.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Me, through thick tears, he never did pick up those power converters.
I was going to go down to the Tashi station and pick up some power converters.
It's true, he didn't. It's the only unresolved thing about Star Wars, and there's probably going to be a Disney Plus series about it. It's going to be a workplace comedy.
Did they not? They kind of did that though when Adam Driver did host SNL with the Kylo Ren stuff, and it was like Undercover Boss or whatever. I'm like, that's the only good thing that came out of those movies that don't exist.
That's exactly. Those are the Letterboxd one-liners for Star Wars: A New Hope, episode 291 of Movie Night Extravaganza. You can follow the show at Movie Night Extra on the popular Letterboxd format, where we are posting stories about all the great episodes that we cover here on this very show, as well as attendance, short-form content, commentary, lots of great fun stuff like that. We're getting caught up finally, so that's a nice thing. So please do that if you're on that platform. It's a good time. Also on Letterboxd, we have the Death Star contractor over there, your host, Forrest Miller. He's logging the stuff we do in this show and lots more. Lots of blockbuster director journeys to go on recently, so that's exciting. I am Conan Neutron. I've got a bad feeling about this. And I am at Conan Neutron at Letterboxd. Highbrow, midbrow, classic movies, new movies, populist fare. Follow me along for the Criterion Challenge. Moving right along, by the way. I just watched Freaky Tales, by the way, which was...
Ooh.
Friend of the show and former co-host of the show, KT Baldessaro, was corrected. It's like a product designed exactly for me. And that's what I will say about that. And it is really good. And I highly recommend. There's a new movie. You can stream it on Max. I'm breaking format of talking about this bit to recommend this movie. So that should tell you how much I like it.
That says a lot.
And just saw Weapons as well. Loved it. Won't give you any spoilers, but we can maybe talk about that spoiler free in the after party. Because Forrest has not seen
I'm always one behind. I saw the Naked Gun and I was like, yeah.
We're doing weapons now, bitch. We're doing weapons. Where you at? Naked Gun is great, though. And so follow me on the Letterboxd platform at Conan Neutron. Christina is Mark Hamill's Harrison Ford impression, which we may or may not play in the after party because we won't get demonetized on that, or doesn't matter anyway.
I think Seth Meyers is nice enough.
And she's Christina on Letterboxd. You can follow along for there. For us, let's hit with the plugs, and then we'll close it out with some final thoughts like we always do.
If you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe, and then hit the bell to get notified whenever we're streaming. And we'd humbly request that you watch the video to the end, because it helps us with the algorithm and helps more film fans to discover the show. We're also monetized. If you want to get your chat questions definitely read on stream, you can always send us a super chat, which will help us keep the show going. Every cent helps. If you're watching on Twitch, you can gift us a free sub on Amazon Prime with your Prime membership, but getting subs on Twitch is always appreciated, and it helps to follow us on there as well. We also have an audio feed, which is available wherever you download podcasts, if you prefer to listen to podcasts rather than watch the stream. That's updated usually the same day we stream, but watching on YouTube and Twitch is the best way to get the show first, live as it happens. If you want to support us with a monthly donation and get access to all of our after parties forever, which go patron only after we do them, you can become a patron at patreon.com/movie night extra. Link is in the description for that. It really helps us keep the show going since we do have some expenses to make this happen. We also have a Discord community. Link is in the description for that. We sometimes watch movies we cover on there. We get into conversations about everything from film to TV shows to related podcasts. We even have a Discord channel for memes. It's really fun on there. You can find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and Threads. You connect with us on all of those. Talk to us. We'd love to hear from you. Lastly, we recently made a TikTok at Movie Night Extra where we're putting up short form clips from the episodes. Okay, passing this to Conan so he can tell you about his music and this week's Protonic Reversal. Conan, who's on Protonic this week?
Well, Forest of the Past. I will tell Forest of the Present that it is a double header this week. Wednesday, returning Nina Nastasia had to postpone the episode due to flooding. There was lots of flooding due to crazy inclement weather conditions in Milwaukee. We had a power outage for like 12 hours. It was actually really terrifying. And we did a lot better than others, but there's a lot of people that are hurting right now. So shoehorning that in. But Nina Nastasia coming in on Wednesday, and then on the normal Thursday slot, Tim Byron of the Meishi and Hell Yeah. Hell Yeah, of course, is the new Meishi band. They opened for us in Oakland on our recent tour. They're wonderful. They're great. If you know that band, the Meishi, they're just a really good time. So those are both coming up. I'm going to post the schedule of everything's coming up for August and September really soon. I'm still locking a few things down, but there's a lot of really great things happening. ProtonicReversal.com for their archives for that, always free, but at patreon.com/ProtonicReversal, $1 a month, helps support the show and gets episodes sooner. A lot of cool Protonic news coming, and there's a lot of cool episodes coming, so stay tuned for that if you're a music person. Co-Neutron and the Secret Friends on a bit of a summer break right now, but we have 2 tours coming up in October and November, on going west again, Mountain West to Seattle, to Rat City Recon 2025. We're going to be playing with God Bullies, Piss Jeans, Buildings and Austerity Program. Give me an amazing time. Think about Rat City Recon. It happens in Seattle, and it happens in a roller rink. And the bands play in the middle of the roller rink, and everyone skates around the bands, and it's awesome. And we played it in 2022 with Lung and Big Business. It was wonderful. Kicked ass. Band skate for free.
Roller skate story for the after party.
Okay, so I'll mention roller skating, but the tour out to that, I will have a poster for it for next show for Empire Strikes Back. But we are, ironically, because Lauren is going to be on that tour, and she's going to be on Empire Strikes Back as well. It's going to be Chicago, Minneapolis, Lincoln, Nebraska, Denver, Salt Lake City, Boise, Portland, Eugene, and then Seattle. So that's what that tour is. A few places that this band has never played. We've never played Salt Lake City. So I think Varn lives there, right? Maybe I should have Varn. And
I think he's moving again.
Just in time for me to play there. Yeah, heard I was coming.
He went and moved. Against you, Conan.
He's like, oh, Neutron's coming. I'm moving.
He said Neutron's coming.
It's a trap.
That's good. That's good. And then we'll also have dates for November. We have Birmingham, Athens, Atlanta, in Georgia, New Orleans, Austin, Denton, Wichita, Kansas, Santa Fe, and Phoenix coming up for the November tour. Of course, Jesus Lizard canceled their tour, so we are not playing with them at the end of that, which would be a great way to end that. But neutronfriends.com, neutronfriends.bandcamp.com is the best place to get music. We have the Neutron's new record. We're on all the streaming platforms and all that stuff. You can find the band on any form of social media you feel so inclined to check out. And that is it. Christina, tell us what you got going on.
Well, for those who are like, what's up with the makeup? I did the Jenna Ortega thing, okay? Everyone keeps saying that she got plastic surgery done. I'm like, no, she just bleached her eyebrows. Chill out, okay? Her eyebrows really changed the face, really changed the bone structure.
I just saw some compliments. I didn't see anything. So people were like, what's up with it? Like, what?
No,
I don't know.
No, but like there were some people that messaged me were like, wait, what's going on here? And I'm like,
What's up with that? What's up with that?
with that. Yeah. I was dog sitting, so I kind of took a break after my, marathon that I had last week. I can't believe it's been a week. I finished watching the first half of Wednesday. Love it. Can't wait for the second half.
I noticed it was up, and I was like, oh, you know what else? The new Alien show, the Noah Hawley Alien show premieres tonight, right? Yeah.
Yes. Something for us to talk about next week. Woo-hoo!
I know. If I wasn't in the after party, I know what I'd be watching, but I'll watch it later.
I know. But also, I'm going down a Jack O'Connor rabbit hole when it comes to his films. The movies are either so traumatizing I have to take a break, or they're too pornographic that I have to take a break.
Oh. Really?
Man loves a hang dong. Okay, I'm just saying. But I did my show today.
Follow your bliss, and you'll never work a day in your life. If you like to hang dong, then you'll have a great time.
Yeah. Highly recommend Lady Chatterley's Lover on Netflix if you ladies want to, see some
Sir,
love affair.
we believe in unity. We believe in unity and hanging dong.
Hanging brain.
There we go. Fellowship and dong. But
Fellowship and dong.
There you go.
It's all in the timing.
Tomorrow night I'm gonna be on with Josh Afternoon to discuss the original, well, not the original, but like Freaky Friday, the first one with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. Should be interesting. I haven't seen that movie in 20 plus years since I had on VHS.
Was there really? I don't want to be salty, but was there really a need to like have another one of those? Was that like something people were looking for? Because I gotta say,
it's not that bad, but like, come on. Yeah,
I mean,
but I'm happy that Lindsay Lohan is all better now. That's good, good for her and all that. And Jamie Lee Curtis just needs to shut the fuck up, is what I gotta say these days.
Really?
Yeah, she just says a lot of stuff, and it's like, girl, just shut.
Well, so do we.
Yeah, but
we say a lot of stuff too.
Than her. We're better than her, though, Conan. I'm just saying, we don't.
Well, did she win an Oscar? I mean, that's debatable.
Well, I mean, we actually post photos of children from Gaza and say they're from Gaza. I'm just saying, okay?
Okay, you're talking about some stuff I wasn't aware of.
Also,
sorry.
There was something else that she said recently that it was like, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Wait for the after party to find out if that's scintillating tidbit.
Streaming tomorrow, then afternoon to discuss Freaky Friday. Thursday, I'm gonna ask Sora, my friend.
Wait, so you're talking about the new one, or you're the one that everyone knows?
The one that everyone knows.
Okay.
Thank God, because
right.
I was I haven't. Yeah.
They do a lot of new releases on that show. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, Thursday, I might be on with Dan for PowerPort, or I might ask my friend Vasora, who recently joined the space, for her show Vasora Down Under, because she lives in Australia. She's a Jersey girl like myself, so I think it would be cool if I hung out with her every once in a while on her show that replaced the movie night.
I think
so we have two Australian friends.
I think it's me and Ravana that are on Dan's show on Thursday.
Yeah, cool, good. I need a break anyway.
Apparently, my invitation got lost in the mail. I do my own show. I do my own show that night. That's the joke. That's the joke.
I know. I barely get invited like once in a blue moon. Something happens and Dan's like, "You want to come on?" And just like, and then everyone else drops out.
Yeah, because they're like, it's just those two. But of course, Shadow Saturday gonna be. Barnabas is still sucked into this cult of the satanic Leviathan cult.
I thought you were gonna say something else entirely. I heard the S sound and I was like, Barnabas is still. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah. My mom is getting more and more involved in dark shadow groups on Facebook because I am, and I'm like, you don't even remember. You were like 4 when the show aired, and you were hiding behind a couch. What do you know about dark shadows? I watched on Sci-Fi back in the day. And then of course Sunday is Sunday Fun Day. We watch Maude, All in the Family, Scooby Doo. We do some fun pop culture stuff. Watch Craig Ferguson. CBS cares. So, yeah.
I still can't believe your mom is. I can't believe your mom's lighting you up about Dark Shadows fandom. It seems like okay, that's
yeah. Also, I'm
position to
still
take.
working on getting Josh Robert Thompson on, the voice of Jeff Peterson, to come on the podcast to discuss, another.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine my dad trying to roast me for being a false Star Wars fan or something? How can you imagine that? Oh my god! I think it'd go a little something
This,
like okay.
this is like my sister roasting me about being a Backstreet Boy fan. I'm like, you're the reason why I'm a fan because you're 7 years older than me. How am I a fake fan?
Backstreet Boys mentioned.
Yeah. She's having
Anyway,
bigger promo now.
Backstreet Smack. All right.
All right.
They are.
They are.
Here.
Damn, I had something I wanted to add, but now I don't remember what it is. So I'll just say, Christina, final thoughts.
This film was the beginning of something very, very special, in my opinion. This first Star Wars film definitely changed the game when it came to blockbusters and nerd culture. And it's unfortunate that the internet has kind of ruined it, obviously. But this film still holds up despite fandom wars and what's canon and what's not canon. I mean, it gave us some of the most bankable box office stars in Hollywood.
Obi-Wan, you fought in the fandom wars.
There you go.
Your father was killed in the fandom wars.
Yeah, I mean, even this movie's even for the girlies. I mean, you got Mark Hamill when he was cute, Harrison Ford when he was. I mean, he still is hot, but like if you're someone who's never seen Star Wars, first of all, what are you doing? And second of all,
Yeah, welcome to this planet. First of all,
yes. I think my sister's never seen Star Wars, and I'm like,
I'm trying to imagine someone that
folks do exist.
I'm trying to imagine someone that not only hasn't seen Star Wars, but like doesn't know anything about Star Wars. She's like Star Wars, and they're like Star Wars.
War? What's that? What's a Star War? Anyway, Conan.
Here's $10. Go
go see a Star Wars.
Go see Star Wars.
one of my favorite reaction gifs of all time. Yeah, I mean, like, what is there to say? This is, I mean, a classic call to adventure, hero's journey, one of the greatest space epics of all time. It launched a franchise, mythology, subculture, and a world of imagination. It is cool to see this now, after seeing the vast majority of the things that Lucas was inspired by, including Hidden Fortress, and to see it with that context. But I've seen it many times, and it again, as I mentioned earlier, the influences matter less than. This is just a miracle of pure captivating imagery and momentum. Han Solo, one of the classic rogues. Chewbacca, one of the best co-pilots, besties of all of sci-fi. Luke is a bit whiny and naive, but he's on his way to galaxy-changing importance, right? Darth Vader, as mentioned, one of the greatest villains in history, and I firmly believe R2 and C-3PO, the Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of Star Wars.
Give them their own spin-off now, Disney.
That's right.
You can do it.
You can do it. You can do it better than droids. You really can.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan setting the template for the sci-fi sensei, right? And Princess Leia being way more than a damsel in distress. She's a great shot. The characters, creatures, so many things about this have been emulated poorly, sometimes within the franchise. One thing we didn't mention, when the Millennium Falcon comes in for the assist at just the right moment at the end. Pure cinema, like that's one of the all-time great moments, because the whole time, if you obviously know the franchise, Han Solo was a big part of it, but you're like, no, he's gone. He got his payday and he moved on, and then you get that, oh my god, he just saved the day, and that's incredible, especially after Han being only in for itself. Every Lucas alteration edition in the 90s is for the worse. But a timelessly fantastic movie and a joy to talk about, and I can't wait to talk about Empire and Return of the Jedi as well.
Hell yeah! I just fucked up and accidentally put the StreamYard link instead of the YouTube link in the chat. I'm doing great tonight. I deleted it so fast.
I was gonna say, we might have some mystery guests for the after party. Join us as we have 100 random people just all jumping up.
I didn't mean to do that.
And so next week, Lauren T.
Like,
and Rebels. And my band too.
I was trying to say under my breath, but it was not.
It was definitely not under your breath.
Your breath.
But it didn't stop me.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly. We're
All right.
professionals.
Well, we are going. We are going to be, jumping onto the after party. After I go to the Toshi station to pick up some power.